I thought we had good improvement today and good energy. Made it through, and a couple of the things that I've really noticed, I think Sean really did a nice job throwing the football today and gaining more and more understanding of our full playbook. And so in our opening game, we're going to be able to be much more versatile than we were last year with him. And I think Tyler is really doing some good things as well. Defensively, Chad Muma keeps on showing up. He's a guy who's, he played some last year, but he's understanding our defense more. And so he's a guy we're really going to really count on, and he'll play an awful lot during the course. And we got some seasoned veteran guys there. I think back in the secondary, certainly losing the two safeties, but Braden Smith's been doing a good job there. Up front in the offensive line, Logan Harris continues to be really an improved player, so we're encouraged about that. And it's great having Alonzo Velasquez and Rudy Stouffer anchoring the tackles down. So kind of where we're at. Practice 10's in the books. I think we made progress. So with that, I'll open up to questions.
With Ravante out, I know that's a big blow along the defensive line.
Yeah.
Who do you kind of turn to, or who's maybe emerging?
We're going to get into a three-man rotation. We'll look at Javari Jackson. He'll be a guy that had been counting on playing. Mario Mora is going to be a guy that will move up also. And I'm trying to think of some of the other guys that we have in there. Those will be the two main
Victor.
guys.
Is Victor
Victor will be a guy that will rotate in there also.
Was he done with an ACL? Is that
Yes,
right?
yeah, it was unfortunate. It was a surgery that was done a couple years ago, and the graft didn't take, and it's gotten torn, and so he'll have that resurgery again.
How much of a concern is that depth? I mean, I know it was already thin before that.
That's a concern. We've been pleased with the progress of the other guys, but certainly, last year we were much deeper in the interior defensive line. But it's time to grow up. I believe our opponents don't really care how thin we are. We've got to get our guys ready to go.
Do you give Josiah more looks on the interior?
Thus far, we have not. He's always been capable of playing inside. We're looking at a couple other guys before we would do that.
Like you mentioned, you're at the halfway point in some of the progress, Sean and
Yep.
Harris make. Where are some areas that are still a bit of a concern for you at the midway point of camp now?
I think at times our wide receivers need to be a little bit more consistent than what they are. Certainly, we need to leverage our strength at corner. I'm concerned about our safety position simply because we've not played as much as we have. And then the biggest concern you have is just our depth at the defensive tackle position.
Where are you at?
Who are some of those other guys at defensive tackle that you haven't named that you're looking at?
Well, as we go, they're still unnamed.
Yeah.
It's as clear as I can be.
You mentioned, linebacker with Muma, but, a guy like Cash, who's been very productive, but played with a broken thumb and a bad elbow. And when you're a linebacker wrapping up and shedding tackles, that's hard. So it seems like he's healthy, but how has he been doing?
Certainly, but the real proof's going to be him wrapping up, because that was a deficiency he had, and it's hard to fault him last year with a club or a brace on his arm, and he's 100% right now. He's moving really well, and so he's not done a lot of live tackling, and we'll get into that here pretty soon.
Any other injury concerns?
No, not right now. I think we're pretty doggone healthy. Yep.
I know it's, you take it one practice at a time, but, on Saturday, will you guys scrimmage? Will that be a significant scrimmage on Saturday?
Yes, it'll be a significant scrimmage, and, as we go through the week, how healthy we are, we'll determine how many plays we're going to have, but it'll be a really important scrimmage and probably be pretty lengthy.
Seems like the last year or so there's been a lot of talk about receivers and consistency. What is it specifically with that group that you need to see?
I think what we had, the bar was pretty doggone high a couple of years ago. And playmakers, there were many times that, a couple of those guys would be covered and we'd come down with the football. So not only the wide receivers, but the tight end position. And, we need to have some of those guys make plays when their ball's up in the air and it's contested. And thus far, last couple of years, they'll make plays when nobody's around. But when somebody's around, I always say there's two hungry dogs and one piece of meat, and one dog's getting the meat. We need to get the meat.
Craig, I know Alan Smith has been, a freshman at nickel getting looks, and I know some of the coaches have been pleased. Have you been pleased with that? Is he still competing?
He's competing, but he's got a little bit of ways to go, and he'll go up and down. That's what he's been doing.